Days ago, right before the US and Israel launched an all-out regime change war on Iran, Iranian state hackers executed a stunning cyber heist, gaining access to a trove of Mossad's blackmail and insurance files. They seized terabytes of Israel's deepest secrets, including military plans, plans for false flags, and raw compromat files exposing vast surveillance operations inside America. And more, including crimes so dark they implicate presidents, billionaires, and untouchable elites. This isn't only about missiles and regime change, it's blackmail at planetary scale. Pure weaponized depravity. We're talking terabytes of the most vile, soul-shattering footage ever captured. Ritualistic abuse of minors, forced pregnancies in hidden baby farms, cannibalistic horrors, and layers of elite sadism that would make the devil flinch. Strap yourself in. What's coming next will rewrite everything you thought you knew. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community, support the channel, and gain access to exclusive and uncensored content. At the core of Israel's global shadow empire sits a ruthless machine of espionage and blackmail. And Jeffrey Epstein wasn't some lone predator. He was a central node in it. Hidden cameras in his mansions. VIP access for the world's most powerful. Direct pipelines to intelligence agencies. All feeding one massive operation. Surveillance, coercion, control. Last week, Iranian state hackers cracked open a slice of Mossad's classified vault. Files that don't just expose spy games, they reveal the compromat that keep elites in line. Blackmail so explosive it ties straight back to Epstein's network, and threatens to drag down presidents, billionaires, and untouchables alike. This is an ancient history. It's unfolding right now. So it's no surprise Netanyahu rolled out his greatest hit this week, claiming Iran is weeks away from the bomb again.
He's been saying the same thing for years, Tucker, trying to bait us into this.
Only the United States can lead this vital international effort to stop the nuclearization of terrorist states. But the deadline for attaining this goal is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems.
We're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks.
Enrich uranium for a nuclear bomb in short order, in a few weeks or a few months. They could do that unless that's changed.
With this massive capacity, Iran could make the fuel for an entire nuclear arsenal, and this in a matter of weeks.
He's been lying every time. I just feel like Trump, he hates war. Why would he do this?
He may not have a choice.
Such was the devastating nature of the compromat. Netanyahu knew there was no time to waste. This wasn't just a breach. It was an existential threat to Israel's global influence and the shadow networks it relies on. Within days of the breach, war was declared. Why the urgency? Because if even a fraction of this compromat goes public, if the world sees the true scale of Israel's blackmail operations, their deep ties to Western institutions, their weaponization of paedophilia, and how far they've gone to stage-manage geopolitics, the fallout will be catastrophic. This isn't about protecting national security. It's about preserving the illusion and ensuring the world never sees behind the curtain. Let me give you just a taste of the lengths they're willing to go to. First case study, Jeffrey Epstein. The official narrative says he died in a Manhattan jail cell. We all know that's bullshit. When the heat became unbearable and the risk of exposure too great, they didn't sacrifice him, they rescued him. Epstein was smuggled out of the US under the nose of the so-called justice system and quietly returned to Israel. A high-value asset protected at all costs. It was a masterclass in misdirection. Israel pulling the strings and making a mockery of US law. Second case study, 9/11. Yes, that 9/11. Stay with me, because the evidence doesn't just raise questions, it completely obliterates the official narrative. And it lays the groundwork for the bloody wars and elite depravity that followed. Netanyahu first predicted the World Trade Center would be attacked in his 1995 manifesto, Fighting Terrorism, How Democracies Can Defeat Domestic and International Terrorists.
I said that the West really doesn't understand militant Islam. So I wrote a book in 1995, and I said that if the West doesn't wake up to the suicidal nature of militant Islam, the next thing you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing down the World Trade Center.
As though that wasn't damning enough, there are multiple occasions Netanyahu slipped up and admitted that 9/11 was a good thing for Israel.
Netanyahu, who once commented that 9/11 was good for Israel.
When it comes to Israelis celebrating 9/11, I remember Netanyahu on 2 different occasions said some positive things about what happened on 9/11, for the Israelis, of course.
He said to the New York Times in an interview on September 11th, "It's very good." You want to pull that up? New York Times, that's it.
Benjamin Netanyahu, the former prime minister, replied, "It's very good." Then he edited himself. "Well, it's not very good."
Then he edited himself. Well, not very good, but it will generate immediate sympathy, meaning sympathy for Israel. That's what he was worried about. That's what he was thinking about, sympathy for Israel.
He sounds thrilled.
In 2008, Netanyahu was quoted by the Israeli newspaper Ma'ariv that the 9/11 attacks had been beneficial for Israel. Quote, "We are benefiting from one thing, and that is the attack on the Twin Towers and Pentagon."
I mean, he just says it, right?
He says it out loud.
There was somebody in New Jersey celebrating the attack. They were Israeli Mossad officers, and they were arrested. And the FBI released the pictures, and they're holding lighters up like they're the ones burning the tower down, and they're all laughing and celebrating. Justin Raimondo called them the high fivers. The FBI arrested them and held them for months. Carl Cameron of Fox News did a 4-part investigative series, quoting FBI agents as saying they had to have known what was happening.
Some things don't change. Israelis are dancing, celebrating the fact they've pulled the wool over American eyes yet again. Nothing to see here, just Israelis hiding in bunkers, dancing and cheering as bombs rain on schoolgirls in Iran, and as American service members are sent to die for Israel's war, exactly as Netanyahu scripted it. How the hell are they pulling this off without a whisper of pushback? Simple, extreme blackmail. And here's the bombshell. Iranian hackers grabbed chunks of this nightmare archive from Mossad's vaults. We're talking twisted rituals, baby factories, cannibalism, and horrors that defy naming. Enough to expose the strings pulling global puppets. The empire is shaking. After the break, we expose the worst of their secrets. Think the healthiest thing in your pantry right now is some overpriced superfood? Wrong. It's actually olive oil. Yeah, that bottle you've got sitting in your cupboard isn't just for cooking, it's a weapon to help you look and feel younger inside and out. No big pharma potions, just nature's real deal. Dr. Stephen Gundry, a rogue surgeon who's done with the system, says high-quality olive oil is a game changer. The problem is the industry is a cesspool. Nearly all brands in stores are watered-down junk, pushed for profit, not your health. Dr. Gundry has had enough. He's exposing the real truth about olive oil with a free video for viewers of this channel. He'll show you how to spot the real stuff that works wonders for your body with just a few tablespoons. This isn't hype, it's the truth they don't want you to know about. Visit getolive1.com/TPV, the link's below. I've watched his free video and the information blew me away. If you're genuinely interested in changing your life with olive oil, go to getolive1.com/TPV now. You won't regret it. For anyone out there thinking, sure, maybe Netanyahu had foreknowledge of 9/11, but he's telling the truth this time about Iran's weapons of mass destruction, think again. He used the exact same script with Saddam Hussein, feeding the Bush administration exaggerated claims about Iraqi WMDs to push for war. The result? No WMDs. Just endless bloodshed, destabilization, and a legacy of lies. The truth is, Netanyahu didn't just know about 9/11 in advance, Israel was behind it. And for those willing to go down the rabbit hole, the evidence isn't just circumstantial, it's overwhelming. Years before 9/11, prominent Israeli rabbis were preaching about the coming destruction of 2 major buildings in New York City, claiming it would mark the beginning of a new era of tremendous wars. They weren't wrong. The rabbis even visited the World Trade Center, telling bystanders to say goodbye to the towers.
You will find there an extraordinary information. There will be two big buildings in the land of Edom, which today we relate the word Edom to America. And those are the biggest, the tallest buildings in the world, and they will be brought down completely, and that will be the sign of the beginning of tremendous wars that will end only in the coming of the Mashiach.
This was a long-term operation planned years in advance, with assets embedded inside the World Trade Center and Mossad operatives positioned across the country in supporting roles. There are 6 questions we urgently need answered. Number 1. Why were 4,000 Jewish people warned to stay away from the World Trade Center on 9/11? And 2. Why did the warning come for Jews only via an Israeli app in Hebrew?
4,000 Israelis believed to have been in the area of the World Trade Center and the Pentagon at the time of the attack. Of those 4,000 people who were supposedly there, only 3 or 4 died. How did they avoid harm? There was an instant messaging service called Odigo, an Israeli instant messaging service, that sent out a warning 2 hours before 9/11 happened, warning people not to go to the World Trade Center that day because there would be a catastrophe there. But it was sent out in Hebrew.
Number 3. Why wasn't Howard Lutnick at work that day?
The head of Cantor Fitzgerald, Harold Lutnick, just happened to be out of the office that day that the terrorists struck. Mr. Lutnick was taking his son to his first day of kindergarten.
Number 4. Why was owner Larry Silverstein absent? And number 5. Why did he increase insurance just before the attacks?
Where were you on September 11th?
I was home. And
Number 6. Why were the dancing Israelis allowed to return to Israel after months in US custody?
Israel was conducting espionage on U.S. soil.
This is a case that took the FBI and the CIA more than 2 months to sort out, while 5 Israelis waited in jail. It began when this woman was watching the Twin Towers burning from her apartment in New Jersey. She noticed 3 men on top of a van, posing for pictures with the towers burning in the background.
And I could see that they were like happy. You know, they didn't look shocked to me.
The witness called police, who stopped the van hours later and arrested 5 men. All 5, it turns out, were Israeli. They said they worked for a company called Urban Moving. The FBI obtained a search warrant for the company's offices. The offices of Urban Moving were simply abandoned. Almost everything was left behind.
According to Mossad, the world isn't just a stage, it's their stage. They cast themselves as the directors, producers and lead actors in a global psyop, engineered to manipulate perception and advance their agenda. This isn't a theory, they admit it themselves. It's right there in their official motto: wage war through deception and trickery.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay, we're the directors, we're the producers, we're the main actors, and the world is our stage.
In reality, Israel and Al-Qaeda are allies. Netanyahu forgot to tell us that when he was celebrating 9/11 and urging the US to attack Iraq and then Iran.
Let me be clear, you're happy to treat Al-Qaeda fighters, but not Hezbollah fighters.
We have a different account with Hezbollah, a totally different account, because Hezbollah has carried out the type of actions against us which preclude us from going into what the Al-Qaeda has done. Al-Qaeda, to the best of my recollection, has up to now not attacked Israel.
But it's attacked your number 1 ally and protector and sponsor, the United States of America. There is a quote-unquote war on terror being going on for 15 years.
Need a reminder of how absurd it got? We're told a hijacker's passport miraculously survived the fireball of a jet fuel explosion and floated to the ground, completely intact, right next to the smouldering ruins. Think about that. A passport survives what the black boxes didn't. Then there's the fact that the voice of a hijacker, as played to the world on network TV, was voiced by an Israeli Hebrew.
The voice of the hijacker heard from the hijacked plane's voice recorder reveals that the accent of the hijacker matches an Israeli Hebrew accent.
stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're heading to the airport.
The next transmission comes seconds later.
Nobody move. Everything will be okay. If you try to make any move, you'll danger yourself and the airplane. Just stay quiet.
FBI Director Mueller, BBC News, and ABC have confirmed that 7 of the 19 Muslims whose mugshots were flashed around the world did not die in the 911 crashes. They are alive and well and are victims of identity theft.
And never forget this piece of the puzzle. A group of so-called Israeli art students had unrestricted access to the 89th through 95th floors of the North Tower for 4 years leading up to 9/11. Not security personnel, not maintenance, just a rotating crew, some of whom have since been confirmed to be Mossad operatives with explosives expertise, with prime access to the floors that would later be obliterated. Look it up, it's all there. They call themselves E-Team and Gelatin. Yes, gelatin, as in blasting gel.
This is one of the documents, a 61-page DEA document that I went over and over and over and connected Israeli Mossad bomb experts to an art group that were traveling around the United States and to an art group that gave themselves the name of Gelatin. Now, the guy in the pink shirt, he's on the top right-hand side.
Yep.
Kind of a pink shirt on. He has repelling gear on.
Yeah.
They removed a window. This was their art project. They put a wooden balcony out, and they had photographs taken via a helicopter that was rented by their sponsor from the Lower Manhattan Cultural Center. And that particular gentleman also had a big party to celebrate this event, and he rented part of the top floors of the Millennium Hotel. You'll remember that from 9/11, and who was there, the Bush relative, and took pictures and had a big champagne party watching this, okay? Look behind the gentleman in the pink shirt. You're going to see 2 big bold numbers. It says BB18. Those are fuse holders. Now look at all 3 pictures and look at how many boxes of plastic fuse holders that can be used for remote control demolition. And ask yourself, why would art students from Israel and Austria be having thousands of fuse holders?
The 9/11 cover-up is the worst of their secrets. This is why they're desperate to keep us in the dark. Why, after 25 years, are the 9/11 documents still classified and locked away? And why are the Jeffrey Epstein files from the DOJ missing documents from 1999 to 2001? There's only one reason. Because the truth is more dangerous than the official story. They're not protecting national security, they're protecting themselves from us. From the fallout that will come when the public learn what really happened that day. And the blackmail material they're holding on Epstein's associates that remains redacted in the Epstein files. With secrets this dark and explosive, it's no surprise Israel is prepared to nuke America and Europe and plunge the world into darkness, then let the truth come to light. Yes, really. It's called the Samson option. Official Israeli policy. Look into it if you still think Israel is your friend. And remember, people are dying for this truth. If you're doing your own research and digging into dangerous topics online, you need to protect yourself. The most popular VPNs in the world, including ExpressVPN, CyberGhost and private internet access, have been bought out by an Israeli company, Cape Technologies. Cape's roots trace back to Crossrider, a malware distributor notorious for hijacking people's devices. And its staff, packed with Israeli former intelligence agents, the very people who built Israel's most powerful surveillance tools. We're talking about veterans of Unit 8200, Israel's NSA on steroids, and the Dovdadin unit, Israel's undercover death squad, commandos trained to infiltrate, disguise themselves, and carry out assassinations. These are the very people you're paying to protect your privacy. It's not just a sick joke, it's a punchline. And you're the one they're laughing at. If you're still using one of these legacy VPNs, cancel your subscription right now. You're under attack. VP.net was created last year, the world's first trustless VPN, built from the ground up to be verifiable, transparent, and unstoppable. Legacy VPNs say trust us not to log, Trust us not to monitor you. VP.net says, don't trust us, verify. Unlike legacy VPNs, every connection is protected by a mathematically verifiable cryptographic shield. So no third party, not even VP.net itself, can see or log your data. So if the government comes knocking, and trust me they do, VP.net has nothing to hand over. No logs, no user data, nothing. Head over to vp.net/TPV and see for yourself. It's fast and it's unhackable. Join us at vp.net/TPV, where privacy isn't promised, it's proven.